I would like to thank the people who are listening to this because I don't know how to welcome anyone to a podcast in memoriam of somebody.
Yeah. So if um, most of you listening probably already know that animator, Rooster Teeth animator, Monty Oum passed away this week on February 3rd. Um, he died after an allergic reaction that happened during a surgery. So we're just
Or
gonna.
routine something or another. We are not 100% sure on the details because they like to be kept private,
Mhm.
which is completely fair. Nothing wrong with that.
But on a lighter note, we're just gonna kind of talk about stuff that he's done. Um, so do you want to start or?
Okay, I think most of us know of Monty from the his first really big video, Haloid, where he had not the Master Chief, but the Master Chick, if you watched all the way till the end, fighting Samus. Because of course it was.
Yeah, the um, this particular video was actually what um, got his got Rooster Teeth to bring him on to their company. Um, they had noticed that he could do choreography really well, and that was something I guess they had been wanting to do with um,
Red versus Blue.
Red versus Blue, yeah, because their older episodes have been mostly, um,
In-game footage.
yeah, not they didn't have a lot of fighting footage, a lot of choreography of any kind, um, but starting up to like season 7, they started to clean it up, and that's when Monty started to, input his own choreography using um, stuff that he had used from Halo. Wow, I can't speak today. Haloid in Red versus Blue.
Yeah.
So,
Though, two other things he's known for one in particular, and something he's probably only a lot of people are recently finding out. The other fan series he did right before he got on Rooster Teeth was Dead Fantasy, which
hmm
was Dead or Alive versus Final Fantasy characters, which was some of the most awesome choreography you could ever want if you're 14.
yeah, I was probably much younger when that came out. Um,
Dear God, we're old.
but but I've been rewatching some of his older stuff um, as this has been happening, and Dead Fantasy was one of the things I've been watching. And I think it's in the second episode. There's a whole scene where they're fighting while running down a wall.
That one was awesome.
Um, Basically, the one group of fighters gets thrown off the wall, and then the other three are chasing them, and it goes into a vertical fight, and that's the first time I had ever seen something like that, at least done, by fan video. So it was really interesting to see something like that being done in that way.
Yep. The other thing he's done, he's also worked on the Afro Samurai game as a combat designer.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I don't think anyone knew that until this. Because who played the Afro Samurai game?
Huh. Did you get to play the Afro Samurai game?
Nope. I don't think anyone has.
Yeah, that's what was it even released for, do you know?
Probably 360, considering the time scale. It was after Haloid, and that was 2007.
Okay.
We are old.
This is true. Um, what else has he done? Um,
Well, the thing he was working on most recently, and the thing that's probably his most successful thing, is probably Ruby, and I don't know anything about Ruby.
so I guess I'll just summarize it a little bit. The thing, um, I honestly forget when Ruby came out. I think it might have been in like 2012, or maybe the trailer started coming out in 2012. But um, they had this set of trailers with each one had a different character, and they were set to release four different trailers based on the four main characters: uh, Ruby, Weiss, Blake, and Yang. And so basically, each of them is a different color. You know, Ruby red, white. Um, why am I blanking? Black and yellow, and each one was a different story for the trailer. And so basically, that came together in the first season. That it was this group of girls that were going to this academy in this set design world. It was not so much fairy tale, but um, there was an existence of, futuristic technology versus kind of magic that they could use to make weapons. And um, the big there was a um, there was a big joke during the show that anything could be made into a gun. Basically, every weapon that anyone had, whether it was a scythe or a sword or nunchucks or anything, it would always turn into a gun at some point and could be used as a gun.
Weapons. Um, I'm looking on the Wikipedia right now. The first episode was released in July 18th, 2013 on their website.
Mm-hmm.
And the first trailer premiered at the credits of Red vs. Blue Season 10 finale on November 5th, 2012.
Okay, so it was in 2012. Um, but the thing about the trailers was that the first, I believe the first um, three were non-speaking. I can't remember if there was any speaking parts in Blake's trailer, um, but there was a there was the first speaking parts in the fourth trailer, which was for Yang, and a lot of people had mixed reactions about the speaking parts because um, it had looked so good just on its own, the choreography and everything, just without speaking parts. But I don't think they expected a full thing from it until um, the fourth one actually set the tone for what the show would be. Um, and then in the first episode of Ruby, I think it was there's then again they only do one character at a time until they all meet in like not until episode the end of episode 1, the beginning of episode 2. So they don't really start becoming a story and a group of characters until a few episodes in. But the choreography from the first episode on was just incredible. You had these big pieces of set, just not set because it's an animation, but the scenery itself, which is everything was getting blown up or destroyed, and there were just these huge, like, full out mini boss battles just in the first few episodes. So I think he did a really good job with that. Starting out on a show on its own, animated in that way.
Yeah, though I think we could all have saw that happening. Oh, Monty Oum's making his own series. Okay, how many fight scenes are going to be in there per second?
Yeah, but the thing is, some of the episodes themselves didn't have necessarily have any fights in them at all. There were some episodes where there were no fights at all, and it was just concentrating on building the characters and building the content. Um, but then you would have the thing I liked about Ruby was you had these spaces where they were just developing character, and then out of nowhere there would just be this giant fight, and it would be all out, and it would be really like nicely. It was just aesthetically,
Pleasing to the eye.
yeah, amazing to look at. Especially, there were a lot of scenes from Ruby that really um, imitated, or not imitated, but reflected the stuff that he had done in Red versus Blue. Um, there's a scene in particular. Um, I think the name of the episode in Ruby is called "Painting the Town Red." I could be wrong, or I think just "Painting the Town." I think that's what it's called. Um, where there's an entire fight scene I guess on a highway, and one of the main characters is on a motorcycle, and she's fighting on the motorcycle. And I looked back at an episode of Red versus Blue, and it looked so similar. I was just like, this is the kind of stuff I want to see in Ruby, and they're delivering. So it was great to see that stuff coming over into Ruby.
Deliberate homage or reusing animation? You'll never know.
I don't think he ever was. I don't think he reused animation, because you know
He worked
character
enough.
models and things like that. But I'm sure that he was able to use choreography from Red versus Blue and Ruby. Um, I mean,
Um,
that's just smart.
yeah, though he did, like, apparently he was, like, kind of glued to his desk, so if he did, he would have enough.
Yeah, that makes sense. But he did have vines where he would just make these short videos of things he would be doing for Ruby, and it was just silly little things like making the characters have dance offs, or um, just funny things like that. And people liked it so much and responded to it so well that there's an entire episode where the characters have a dance party.
Man, I'm just thinking back to Haloid and that ending. Where he made, Samus and, the Master Chick have a dance fight, and then every single elite behind them starts dancing too.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Didn't he make spin-off videos of them dancing, or was that just in video, I think?
You're gonna have to tell me. I wouldn't know.
It says here that, yeah, there were spin-off videos, showed all the main characters dancing to a song called "Obsessed," and
By
then,
Generation Girls?
yeah, and then that was another one that he had done with Generation Girls,
Yeah,
or Girls' Generation.
like, I remember from interviews, he kept saying, like, a lot of his animations are inspired by music he's just listening to.
Hmm.
And he just, like, a song gets stuck in his head and he wants to animate to it.
Yeah, I was reading an article. I actually have it pulled up right now. Um, where he wrote on the Rooster Teeth website that he's always considered himself more a dancer than a fighter, which makes sense when you watch a lot of his stuff. It
Yeah.
feels a lot more like they're doing a dance than they're actually fighting.
Well, a fight is more erratic and it's not, like, a specific way. While the fights he do look like they're, like, on sets. They, like, look too awesome to be real. Which they are.
Yeah, when oh man, I unfortunately I didn't start watching a lot of Monty's stuff until later in. I didn't know about Rooster Teeth and Red versus Blue and everything like that until probably around season 10, 9 or 10. I think I came in at 9. Um, so I hadn't seen any of his original stuff. So me watching as a first time viewer, seeing this, it was like, oh my God, there's nothing else like this out there. Like he's just putting like these things to shame. Like it's so good that I wish that this was the actual kind of choreography that they had in real video games.
I guess we're gonna have to play that Afro Samurai game at some point.
Yes, that I'm gonna have to get if I have to find out what console it's on first. I just blanked on the word. um,
It was probably 360 and PS3.
yeah, yeah, it was Xbox 360 and PlayStation. Yeah, and PlayStation 3. You're right. Um, I don't know if there was more than one game, but I'm pretty sure it was on 360 if I'm looking at the right one.
Probably. I can't imagine them Afro Samurai having that wide of a release.
Who wouldn't want to play Afro Samurai?
Racists?
Yeah. I'm not gonna touch that one. But
I can't imagine racists wanting to play it.
probably not. I don't know enough about Afro Samurai from other than what I've seen of like pictures and things like that. But getting back to the original point of it all, there was what was I thinking? There was even though he didn't do season 11 of Red vs. Blue, I'd like to think that he had some hand in the season finale, because then again there was this fight scene where it just totally blew everything they had done choreography wise out of the water. It just looked like the stuff he had done in seasons 8 through 10. So that was nice to see. But just thinking about, I hadn't seen too many interviews with him in it, but from what I've heard from other people, he was just this really chill guy. To his coworkers, I can't really say to that because I don't work there, but from how I've passed the Rooster Teeth table enough times at Comic-Con and just seen him interacting with people, and he just seemed like this really relaxed, chilled presence. But the exterior doesn't always show with the inside on it, so I can imagine what he only felt like on the inside, having all these thousands and millions of fans for Red vs. Blue and Ruby.
I think the worst part about losing him, though, is, I don't even think it's wrong saying that in 10 more years he would have been known as one of the greats, and in 20 years he would have been legendary. Because, not only is, from all accounts, he was a pretty goddamn chill guy, but he was also very proud of his work and always aimed higher.
Yeah.
He started off, he made a fan video about Metroid versus Halo. Then he made a fan video series about Dead or Alive versus Final Fantasy. Then he got picked up to work with Rooster Teeth and make the ultimate to help work on the ultimate fan video series, Red vs. Blue. And then he started to make his own original content with Ruby.
Yeah, so it, he was in I think he was in his like
He
30s.
was 33 when he died.
Um, he was 33. So yeah, he was basically at that point where if he had kept going with Ruby, um, I'm pretty sure that you know not just the Rooster Teeth community would have known about Ruby. It would have just it probably would, and it still has the potential to um, just keep growing until it expands, and people even outside the gaming community and the Rooster Teeth community know
It's on
about it.
Netflix.
And that's really even Red versus Blue. I'm not sure how many seasons of Red versus Blue, but I know that that's on Netflix too now as well. But Ruby being on Netflix is a really big step um, for them, especially now, um, where it's in this point where they did say that there's going to be a season 3 of um, Ruby, and I'm sure they could keep going with it, but in terms of season 1 and 2, not to um, bash anyone who or look down upon anyone who is going to be stepping up into that position, but I personally don't think anybody could do what Monty did in seasons 1 and 2, um, because he was um, he had his own style and he did his own work, and he put so much of his own self into it that I think that's what made it his style. So that's going to be nice to see that other people will still be able to see what he was able to do.
I think we're all gonna miss Monty. It's just he went so far for somebody who's just doing his own thing.
Hmm.
And and the thing that Rooster Teeth said that I think all of us should really take to heart is like Monty would have wanted us to create something,
Hmm.
and don't let his death just be something we mourn and forget about. Work toward making something and just make it. It doesn't matter if it's good or not, it's going to be yours and you can improve on that. Like, a lot of people did not
Hmm.
like Ruby. I'm one of those people, but I never actually gave it a chance. But a lot of people didn't like it. But he still made it. He still created his own original content. He still got it put on Netflix. He still put it out. And no one's going to take that away from him.
Hmm. Like he's created it and it's out there, and even though people say they don't like it,
It's got a fan base.
you can't. Yeah, it's there, and there are people who like it, and there will always be people who like or don't like something,
Like,
but
even if no one
um
liked it, he still put the effort and he still made it.
right. And I think that really speaks to what um we've seen from him in the past, like you were saying, how he always aimed for something better. Um, Ruby going as far as it did with the fight, with the choreography, and with the story, and with everything. It just spoke. I think it just spoke to who he was, and what kind of person he was, and it was what he did was great.
From what I've gathered from interviews and what people say about him, he was this weird concoction of both very humble yet very proud.
Yeah, I um I personally I watched the fan there was a fan video that they put up on the website showing um old videos that he had done with um the guys from Rooster Teeth. I forget what it was exactly that they had done, but there was an episode of him uh, where he punches like a fruit or something off of Michael's head, and he's like teaching him to be a I guess like a karate master. And so he was quiet, but he definitely from what I had seen, um, just viewing him personally, he seemed quiet, but then you had these like moments where he was just like his I don't, his personality was very loud. I guess that's what I would say about it.
Humble yet proud. It's probably the easiest way to describe him, and kind of
Hmm.
paradoxical.
He was definitely paradoxical.
Yeah. Like, in one of the interviews with Haloid, he went over, like, the fog shotgun scene, where
Hmm.
the Master Chick just shot, like, a bunch of elites with a shotgun. He
Hmm.
he went over it, and basically, like, he bet anyone at money that if they found one shot where the shotgun wasn't pumped, because he was so proud of himself for making sure the shotgun was pumped each and every time it performed a shot.
Hmm. And I hope nobody found that because I'm sure he did his work well.
I hope no one found it yet. I'm still waiting for my $100. I didn't find it.
Yeah, and um, you know, like you go to these conventions and you see all these different people and the way they react to his work. And from the people I talked to, especially those people who were dressed up like characters from Ruby, other fans seem to have nothing but respect for the work that he had been doing. Um, and so it even if for all the opposing views there was just a general, you know, amount of respect and awe for the creator himself and what he could do um, with, you know, I don't want to say simple characters, but with such because the characters aren't simple at all, but with just a gun, you can turn that into a scythe and a shotgun. Um, so I thought that was really original um, of him going back to the shotgun again.
Uh, well, I guess all that's left to say is goodbye, Monty. We're gonna miss you.